more difficult to control. I remember the first time I sat for meditation, I was in college and my friend had just taken TM and said, let's meditate together. And he said, just sit, have no thoughts. I sat there and I thought I was going to go crazy. It was so difficult to sit there. I had so many thoughts and so much energy that it was not a pleasant experience. It was just very difficult for me to have no thoughts. The thoughts were just moving, moving, moving. So in dharana, we begin to rein in this wild, crazy creature we call the mind, begin to focus it. We can choose any object that we like to focus on. For example, I could meditate on this table that's in front of me. It's a wide range. I could look at the color. I could look at the shape. I could look at all different aspects of it. So I begin to narrow the focus of my awareness to a single point. Let's suppose I'm looking at a candle, looking at the tip of my nose, or looking at the breath. I begin to narrow the focus down where I can have more than one thought, but it's about one thing. So this is called dharana. Once we've practiced this for a period of time, and it takes a little while to rein in the mind to a single focus, then we choose one aspect, one thought about one thing. And this is what Patanjali defines as meditation. That meditation is the flow of concentration towards a single thing in an unbroken manner. So in dharana, we're still practicing. The mind wanders, we bring it back. Dharana, the wanders here, we bring it back. Meditation, dhyana, is when we now have the ability to focus the mind on a single object and sustain that for a period of time. As we focus on one thought, think about the vrittis of the mind, the ripples, the waves on the ocean, the multifarious waves that are rippling across the lake. Now it's just one vritti, one movement, moving across the one wave moving. Once we've reached a level of mastery of the one pointedness, that one thought will naturally fall away and will be resting in a state of absolute stillness. And this is what we call samadhi, absorption, absorption in the self. We practice this over a period of time. And this, when we enter into this state, we call this the Shambhavopaya level, where we're in the spirit, within consciousness. And over a period of time, we practice samadhi until we're able to experience it in meditation fully and completely, and then bring that experience into the world. So we practice samadhi, come out of samadhi. We practice holding on to that experience for an extended period of time. That afterglow of samadhi we call vyutana. And this gradually pours into the other states of consciousness. Once we have an experience of the inner self, of our inner consciousness, this state becomes a permanent awareness. We reach a stage of development where we're really established in our essence and our essential nature, and we're able to maintain that state of awareness in the waking state. We can be in the world and have thoughts and deal with different elements in our life, but still remain centered in our subjective awareness of our own being. Even in our dreams, we're aware, we're conscious, we're fully conscious that we're having a dream, even conscious during the deep sleep state. We call this Shiva Vyapti, meaning being aware of the self in all situations in the world, not just in silent meditation, but in the world. So these are the 8 limbs of the Patanjali system. They're leading to meditation. And I invite you to continue your practice of meditation on a daily basis. We're offering you a variety of practices, but the truth is you just need one. So we're offering you this different types of meditation so you find the one that works for you. Do that every day, preferably at the same time, in the same place, over a period of time. This practice should be regular and over a long period of time. Then it will bear fruit and we'll realize Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. Shivoham. I am Shiva. I am whole, perfect, and complete as I am and always have been. We simply learn to recognize it through the practice of yoga and meditation. Blessings. Pranam. Questions? The four limbs, the first four limbs, or the first four yamas, which mm, mhm, yeah. So let me address the sadhana of this eight limb yoga. That it's not necessarily a linear path. That it's helpful to begin the practices of yama and niyama, and it's beneficial if we can attain a level of mastery. But the truth is, we can practice all eight of these limbs at the very beginning. We can learn meditation. You may have the experience of meditating and going into samadhi, and you can be in samadhi and come out and forget the practice of ahimsa, and it disturbs your peace. So we can use these yamas and niyamas to help us get into samadhi. But just as importantly, it's living an ethical life that's free from stress so that we can hold on to the experience of samadhi, hold on to the experience of ourself in life. If we have deep meditation experiences but go out and rob a bank, we're going to leak. So these yamas and niyamas are meant to strengthen the container, our container, so that when we go into the experience of samadhi, or when we receive the gift of the Supreme, that we're able to hold it. There's an analogy that the yogis use, that the milk of a tiger should be contained in a golden chalice. If you put it in tin or some other material, it will corrode and it will leak. So even though we're putting in the tiger milk, it'll leak out. So if we practice a good moral life, we'll be able to maintain this peace. We should think of peace of mind as our greatest treasure, worth more than $1 million, worth more than anything that's out there. So when we're abused by someone and could potentially be triggered and upset, I often will ask myself, is this worth disturbing my peace over? Why should I bother to get upset about something like this? If you really believe that peace of mind is the highest value, is the greatest treasure, then trivial little things won't bother you. You could lose all of your possessions, lose all of your money if you're practicing non-possessiveness. It's just part of the life experience. We can be content with what we have. We're not possessive. Yeah. So let me just add a thought to that. That these limbs of yoga, we can think of these as progressive limbs. And we need to start our sadhana wherever we are. So if we're new to this, we begin the practice of yama and niyama, and you can do asana practice and pranayama and kind of work your way up the spiritual ladder. But there's a direct route. In the direct route, in the tradition that I come from, we call this the practice of recognition, recognizing who we are immediately. In the tradition of Shaivism, they always give the highest teachings first. Chaitanya Matma, the nature of the self is pure consciousness. You are that. The nature of the universe is consciousness. There are those who are ready to hear the truth, and hearing the words, thou art that, awaken. So we can go right for the highest reality directly. And then if we don't receive the awakening at that, we can do the lower level practices. The truth is, it's not either or, it's both and. My own teacher would teach from both levels. Thou art that. Every night he said, God dwells within you as you are divine, awakened. And at the same time, we would do the anuvapaya practice. We would practice asana practice and pranayama, and we would do chanting. And these sort of anuvapaya practices, the practices that utilize the body, can lead to the higher practices in the moment. It's not like we have to do these practices over many years. It can happen in a moment. So it's both and. The highest direct experience as working going directly to the top, who we are. We can also work from the bottom up.
Are there certain levels of samadhi or samadhi means only samadhi?
Yes, there are different levels of samadhi. These are clearly articulated in the Shaivite scriptures, and we go through stages. I won't have time to go through them all now. There's quite a few, but there's samadhi with form, savikalpa samadhi. There's nirvikalpa samadhi. So, for example, if we're doing some kind of deity worship, we can become one with the deity. There can be a form. It can be we can we can become absorbed in the mantra. We can become absorbed in the inner light, whatever we're meditating on. Or we can be in a state of just formlessness, nirvikalpa samadhi. And there are different levels that we kind of go through as we meditate, and those reveal themselves. We progress very naturally through the highest. In our tradition, the highest form of samadhi is called sahaj samadhi. This is the natural state where once we've experienced the self on the inside, we experience that same self outside. It's sometimes described as the Shambhavi mudra or the Bhairavi mudra, where we can somehow be established in the inner consciousness fully and completely while we're in the waking state with our eyes wide open. My guru Bhagavan Nityananda was noted for living in this state that he would be completely immersed in the inner self. And people say it looked almost as if one eye was looking in and the other eye was able to see in the external world. So at the highest levels of samadhi, the inner world and the outer world merge. That there's no longer a separation. It's just a seamless reality of consciousness. We experience it when we turn in. We experience that same level of joy and samadhi wherever we are. Shiva Sutras say, Lokananda Samadhi Sukham, that the true samadhi can be experienced wherever you are, in whatever place you are, in whatever place you find yourself, whatever you're doing. One should be established permanently in the subjective awareness of our own being. So let me elaborate on that a little bit further. So one way of describing levels of samadhi is Atma Vyapti and Shiva Vyapti. So Atma Vyapti is when we, through practice the eight limbs, enter into samadhi and become absorbed in our own consciousness in meditation. Once we're permanently established in that awareness, we become jivan mukta. We're liberated even while living in a body. Shaivism says that's not the end of it, that Shiva Vyapti is the next stage of meditation, where we can come out of meditation, maintain that awareness, and function in the world, loving our family, earning a living, and seeing that same consciousness reflected in every person that we meet and in every situation. So we realize the self within Atma Vyapti, we realize that same self in the universe, Shiva Vyapti.
Swami, a small talk on Chaitanya Atma.
Chaitanya Atma. Okay. Chaitanyam Atma. This is the first sutra of the Shiva Sutras. Chaitanya's consciousness. Atma's the self. So we can translate this as the nature of the inner self is consciousness. We're not a body. We're not the mind. We're not our thoughts. We're not our bank account. We're not our breath. But in essence, when you boil it all down, we're consciousness, eternal consciousness, the same in all places, in all things, at all times. This self can't be cut, can't be burnt, can't die. It's eternal. It's the unchanging awareness of who we are. It's the experience of I am. This is the Atma, the self. And once we realize that self, then we realize that the nature of the entire universe is consciousness, not just me, but everything around me. And it's this universal consciousness that has manifested this universe and seems to play as consciousness. It's a play of consciousness, it's a dance. Um, the nature of the self is consciousness, the nature of the universe is consciousness, one in the same. And the purpose of a human